Well, hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Dr. Dray. I'm a board-certified dermatologist. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about beard care, specifically skincare for underneath the beard, because that's an area where issues can come up. Whether you have a short beard, a longer beard, or you're just starting to grow your beard out, there are some common mistakes that can lead to irritation, ingrown hairs, acne breakouts, even beard hair breakage. So today we're going to talk about how to cleanse the beard properly, how to moisturize the skin underneath the beard, and really what products to look for and which ones to avoid in this area. And I'll also touch on how to prevent common skin issues that crop up in the beard area, like seborrheic dermatitis or ingrown hairs. Now, beard care is a little bit different in comparison to regular skincare because not only are you dealing with skin, but you are dealing with terminal hairs as well. That hair can trap oil, dead skin cells, and product residue. The environment underneath your beard is under occlusion in a certain respect. This increases the risk of irritation, folliculitis, which is just an umbrella term for inflammation around the hair follicle, acne, flaking, and scaling. That's why it's important to be mindful of your skincare routine in this area. Let's start with cleansing. You want to make sure you're cleansing not just the beard hairs themselves, but the actual skin underneath the beard. A lot of people end up, maybe because they're in a hurry, just washing the surface and getting the hairs without really giving the underlying skin a good cleanse. So you want to be careful to make sure you work that cleanser down to the surface of the skin. I suggest looking for gentle, fragrance-free facial cleansers. You don't want to use a harsh bar soap that's very drying. You might even try washing your face in this area with a baby shampoo / body wash. They're often multi-use products. For example, Eucerin makes one, but honestly, any mild facial cleanser will do the trick. And you can wash under the beard area at the same time you're washing your face. You really only need about a dime-sized amount of cleanser. Remember, if you use a large volume of cleanser, that requires you to spend more time rinsing everything off to make sure you don't leave cleanser residue behind on the beard hairs that then throughout the day will irritate your skin underneath the beard. Not to mention dry out the beard hairs themselves and contribute to breakage. Now, if you're prone to seborrheic dermatitis, those red, greasy, scaly patches that often happen in the beard, you might elect to use an anti-dandruff shampoo in this area as a facial / beard wash and use that a few times a week as maintenance. You're in the midst of a flare-up, you can use it daily and then back down to just a few times a week for maintenance. Check out my recent video all about comprehensive over-the-counter care for seborrheic dermatitis if that's something you struggle with. Now, here's where things get kind of dicey, and that is moisturizing. You want to think not just about long-term hydration, but also how the particular product is going to perform in this hair-bearing area. A common mistake is reaching for thicker creams or ointments. For example, if you have gotten caught up in the TikTok trends, which I generally like, of facial slugging, this might backfire in the beard area. Thick creams and occlusive ointments that are petrolatum rich, they certainly can be helpful for areas like the cheeks or stubborn patches of dryness on the body, but in the beard area, they don't work down into the skin as efficiently and are more inclined to build up on the hair shafts. And if they are products that have other ingredients besides just petrolatum, which generally isn't irritating, but if they have other things added, they're trapped on the beard hairs, well, that's going to increase surface area of exposure to those things and can lead to more irritation or simply just inefficient moisturizing of the skin underneath the beard, leaving behind the moisture barrier stripped and in need of a little TLC. Instead, you might find that lighter formulations are much easier to work down to the skin underneath your beard and just overall are easier to use in this area. Look for products that are lightweight lotions or fluid hydrating toners, serums even. Another vehicle, which is just the term for the backbone of a given product that works really well in hair-bearing areas, is going to be a gel. Gels typically have alcohol in them, which can be a little drying, but are generally balanced out with other moisturizing ingredients. But the thing about the gels is they are much less likely to build up on the beard hairs and often are a good choice. For example, the brand Thyers has a moisturizer that has alcohol in it that I often recommend for hair-bearing areas. Plus, they just feel a lot more comfortable, less heavy on the skin, and less greasy, which if you're acne prone or even have sensitive skin, this little tweak can end up making a big difference. What about beard oils? You hear a lot about these and they're really popular. Beard oils can help soften the beard hair and improve the overall appearance of the beard. However, keep in mind they primarily act to condition the hair, not to moisturize moisturize the underlying skin. They may soften the underlying skin a bit. They may help to dislodge flakes if you're dealing with seborrheic dermatitis, but they're not going to help particularly well, I should say, with retaining hydration in the skin. So if you choose to use a beard oil, make sure you're just using a conservative amount of it and really directing it, in this case, to the beard hairs rather than trying to work it down to the level of the skin. That's where you want to be targeting your moisturizer. Let's talk about some common problems that arise in the beard. Probably the number one issue is going to be itch. This is especially true when you are in these stages of growing out your beard. It's often due to a combination of dry skin, irritation, and or just the early stages of hair growth, the stubble. It's more prickly. This is where using a mild, gentle cleanser, making sure that you rinse it off very carefully, you don't leave residue behind, and then choosing a moisturizer that works well in the beard area and gets down to the level of the skin without excessively balling up and pilling up, heaping up on the beard hairs. This can actually make a huge difference in cutting down on dryness and irritation and subsequent itch. Some moisturizers will have ingredients in them like menthol that can distract the itch signal, but a basic routine that focuses on these little hacks that I'm pointing out here can ultimately really make a difference. Probably one of the most common skin issues that pops up in the beard area is going to be beard dandruff, otherwise known as seborrheic dermatitis. This is related to sebum, which is oil, plus overgrowth of that little yeast that lives on everyone's skin, malassezia. Your immune system mounts an abnormal attack to the malassezia presence, I should say, and you end up with these patches of red, inflamed, irritated skin that gets this overlying greasy yellowish scale. As I mentioned when we were talking about cleansers, you might want to use an anti-dandruff shampoo a couple of times a week as maintenance in the beard area, but I also suggest if you deal with seborrheic dermatitis on the face, whether it be just to your beard area or to the rest of your face, namely like the brow area, the forehead, the sides of the nose, when you're in the shower and you're shampooing the scalp, use the anti-dandruff shampoo in the scalp and to the face. That way you treat both the scalp and the face at the same time. But what if I don't have dandruff in my scalp? Well, the thought process is that the malassezia yeast in your scalp may also end up making their way down onto your face. There's not a lot of solid science rooted in that, but it's something that customarily patients with seborrheic dermatitis have been advised to do because it does seem to move the dial on keeping the facial skin clear. What kind of ingredients specifically do you want to look for seborrheic dermatitis? You're going to be looking for zinc pyrithione, ketoconazole, or selenium sulfide. Alternatively, you'll also find that salicylic acid acne cleansers can be very helpful as well for seborrheic dermatitis, but in contrast to the anti-dandruff shampoos, salicylic acid doesn't necessarily reduce the burden of malassezia, but it can still be a helpful add-on. So if you find you tolerate that better, it works well for you, consider that as well. Salicylic acid is a mild exfoliant that can smooth the surface of the skin as well and is generally well tolerated in the beard area. Where you have a lot of oil glands, salicylic acid is really sophisticated in finessing oily surfaces, getting down into the pores to exfoliate them and to calm down inflammation. Now, here's another issue that crops up in the beard area. It's a folliculitis. Now, as I mentioned earlier, folliculitis is simply an umbrella term that means inflammation around the hair follicle, and it can be caused by a variety of different entities, such as infectious entities like a bacterial folliculitis or a fungal folliculitis. Also, just folliculitis related to inflammation from ingrowing hairs. That's technically a pseudofolliculitis. I digress. You get the point. There are a lot of different folliculitides. This appears as red bumps that form pustules, little collections of white pus. Some people call these whiteheads, although technically they are not whiteheads, they are pustules. They're often triggered by occlusion, such as the nature of the beard area with all the hair, plus friction, and to a certain extent, even product buildup. Again, good cleansing to remove excess oil and making sure that you rinse the cleanser off or that you don't use a lot of product that builds up on the hair, and it increases the overall surface area of exposure to particular ingredients that might be irritating. That also can help. And then, of course, a big thing that will help cut down on the risk of folliculitis is going to be your shaving technique if you shave. Speaking of which, let's talk about beard hair grooming, beard hair removal, shaving, and trimming. I mean, even if you have a beard, you might still pursue trimming the beard as maintenance. And for shaping it, always make sure that the tools that you use are clean. Don't reuse the same disposable razor for months and months and months. Only use it for max 7 uses. Also, make sure that when you shave, you take short strokes, ideally in the direction of hair growth, although that can be quite unrealistic in the neck area of the beard. But try and take those short strokes. You really don't need to press very hard, and make sure that you don't go over the same area multiple times, as that can increase irritation. Another thing though that can really drive ingrown hair formation is actually pulling the skin taut when you shave, because it kind of creates this mechanism where the hair ends up piercing the neighboring skin more readily due to sort of the spring back force when you release. And that is another habit that you might want to try your best to avoid, although I know it's hard not to, because sometimes that just makes it easier to get to the hair to cut it. Always make sure that you get the skin under the beard and the hairs really wet before pursuing any kind of shaving. It'll make the hairs easier to cut. If your beard hair is long, definitely trim it before shaving it with scissors or clippers. And a lot of people like to groom their beard with clippers rather than a razor blade. And so of course that's going to be a lot less irritating in comparison to a razor. Speaking of razor, try and choose razors that have 2 blades or fewer, or single blade ideally. Although those can be more laborious to shave with, they do lessen the risk of irritation. Now, here's something that a lot of people neglect in general, but when it comes to the beard area, you're not off the hook, and that is sun protection. Now, it's true that the beard does offer some physical sun protection, but it's not 100%. So if you're going to be spending a lot of time outdoors, in particular, I do suggest making sure you're really thorough with sunscreen application in this area. But just like with other facial care products, you can get a lot of product residue on the hair strands, and it can be actually quite difficult to get the sunscreen down to the level of your skin where it's needed. You don't need to put sunscreen on the hair, just the skin, but that can be challenging to do. Like with the moisturizers, look for sunscreens that are gels that have alcohol in them. They tend to go into this area much more efficiently with minimal residue on the skin. Look for chemical sunscreens, because they are going to go into hair-bearing areas much more readily than a zinc oxide or titanium dioxide sunscreen would. Those almost always leave a white chalky residue on the skin and definitely on the hairs. The chemical sunscreens are safe despite what you might hear on the internet. I have a lot of videos here talking about sunscreen ingredient safety, but they are very safe, provided you're not allergic to them, I should say. Another option besides the gels is actually an aerosol. Aerosols you actually want to spray into your hand rather than directly on the beard, because they just won't reach the skin if you're just spraying the beard surface. You actually want to spray them into your hand and then work the product down to the level of the skin. But the overall formulation of an aerosol based product tends to be, or just a spray in general, I should say, because some sprays aren't even in aerosols. Sunscreen sprays, they tend to work well in hair-bearing areas as well. As with all of my facial or body skincare advice, I do encourage keeping your routine simple. All anyone really needs is a mild cleanser and a moisturizer, and then sun protection. You want to be washing your face at least once a day, ideally at nighttime, and you can follow up with a moisturizer if you feel like your skin tends to be dry. Men in general do not have skin that is as inclined to becoming dry as women on the face, but of course there are plenty of men who deal with dry facial skin out there. But also I want to remind you guys that the sunscreen is a moisturizer as well, so you will get some moisture retention with just sunscreen as well. Now, along the lines of a skincare routine, what about active treatments that you're using to the face? Like a topical retinoid is going to be something a lot of people use either for acne or for anti-aging motivations, wrinkles, age spots. This is another situation where the gel vehicles can make or break the experience, because as many of you may have experienced, tretinoin at least is a topical retinoid that can be pretty irritating. Now, if you're using tretinoin cream in the beard area, you might end up with way too much product. And if you've ever watched any of my videos on how to use a topical retinoid, I'm always encouraging people to just use enough of the medication to create a thin film on the skin. Well, when you have a lot of beard hair, you may end up using too much or getting a lot of tretinoin cream residue on the hair, hair, so now you have a larger surface area that your skin is exposed to. It can be very irritating. I often would recommend in that case a gel vehicle. Again, tretinoin gel tends to work much better in hair-bearing areas. Maybe you have been prescribed a topical antibiotic lotion, probably maybe even for your folliculitis would be a common situation, like a clindamycin lotion. Make sure you really work that down to the surface of the skin. A lot of pharmaceuticals that your dermatologist might prescribe you to treat certain skin issues in the beard, they should, I should say, prescribe you vehicles of those drugs, meaning the drug in a background formula that is ideal for hair-bearing areas. And so that's going to be your gels or lotions or liquids, not creams or ointments. At nighttime, you might also elect to finish off your routine with a couple of drops of beard oil just to condition the beard hairs themselves, not to moisturize the skin. Key takeaways are to focus your skincare in this area to the skin itself. Try and make sure you're diligent with working the product down to the level of the skin. And be really aware of products that just end up being too heavy and building up on the hair rather than actually migrating down to the level of the skin. Choose lighter formulas like gels and lotions. Keep the area clean, well maintained. Beard care does not need to be complicated. I don't know if y'all have ever gone into Target. They have this whole men's skincare section that is full of all of these over-the-top beard care product sets, all with these like woodsy masculine scents. I don't know who buys those things. They all seem over the top and unnecessary to me. All you really need is a mild cleanser and a moisturizer and a sunscreen. You don't need 5 million different heavily scented lotions and things of that sort, because those things just can end up irritating your skin in the long run. Now, if you're dealing with persistent itch, flaking, ingrown hairs, see a dermatologist. There are prescription treatments to target those. Let me know though if you want a dedicated video on ingrown hairs in the beard area, otherwise known as pseudofolliculitis barbae. I have a lot more tips for that particular condition, but overall, this is my beard care, skincare tips video. I hope you guys found it useful and informative. Now, I've started a playlist this year on my channel of men's skincare. I have several videos in there already, so make sure you check that playlist out. I will put the last video from the playlist on the end slate. You can watch that if it is of interest to you, and I'll pin the playlist in the comment section below. So check it out. But if you guys enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.